afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us at the launch and inauguration of NCC Group in Manila. So congratulations. As you know, our executives, we have Mike Madison, the Global CEO. We have Kevin Brown, the Global COO, and of course, our Country Director for the Philippines, Sarah Acuña, is here. I know you've also heard all of their amazing messages for the Philippines and why we're here and why we're excited about this. We also had beautiful messages from our industry and government representatives, so we want to get straight into it. I'm Bea Lim, I'm the Managing Director of Team Asia, and I'll be your moderator for this afternoon's quick Q&A and meet and greet with our executives. We do want to first and foremost thank you to our dear media for being here, for being our wonderful partners, and really sharing this wonderful, wonderful opportunity and milestones for Filipinos in the cybersecurity space. And I want to make sure that you have enough time with our executives to ask them your questions, whether it was from all of their wonderful messages or even the office tour that Sarah conducted also this afternoon. So we'll just go around the table. If you do have questions, kindly raise your hand. State your publication, please, because of course, our dear executives, it's the first time that they are meeting you. So please introduce yourself in your publication, and then we can go to your questions. We do have 30 minutes for our meet and greet. So in as much as possible, let's limit our questions first. One question per publication first, and then we can do follow-up questions later as well. Okay, so Mike, Kevin, and Syra, shall we get straight to it? Okay, perfect. So the floor is now open for any questions you might have. Kindly just raise your hand and I'll get to you.
Hi, Elijah Rosales from the Philippines Star. We just wondered what are the risks and opportunities that you saw in the Philippines for your decision to locate an office here, the largest outside.
There's
the risks and opportunities.
I think when we were looking for opportunities to build a centre for the resources within NCC Group, the sorts of things that we were really looking for was the ability to integrate with our global business model. It was the ability to access talent in depth, and it was very much being able to align with what our clients were. So those were the three main sort of criteria. I think what we recognised in the Philippines when we were looking and doing our sort of selection criteria was very much we have a very large North American footprint. The Philippines has a really good alignment in terms of time zone, but also culturally with the opportunities that we see in North America. The quality of the English, which again is incredibly important as our primary business language, absolutely fundamental. But then most importantly was the breadth and depth of the talent that we saw certainly in the Metro Manila area, but actually more broadly in the Philippines. I think those are the main things. In terms of risks, is obviously how is the speed with which we can build capabilities and capacity to and integrate it with our own business. So that's actually quite a shift. So that's one of the risks that we really we acknowledge most as we went through the process.
If I could just pick up, Mike, on the opportunity as the people power tech-enabled business as well. The people power only comes when you've got a mindset that continuous learning. And certainly from our early work before we make a decision, and it's happening now, it's just that appetite to continuously learn from the Filipino community is absolutely awesome. It truly is. And that's really going to make a difference to how we deal with cyber going forward. As we know, it's a constantly evolving threat, and therefore our minds cannot be static. Our minds has to learn, and so we're really excited about that.
Thanks so much, Elijah. Sarah, please go ahead.
To echo what Mike said earlier about the values, very aligned. Whether we're talking about the North American office, APAC, or the UK, the values that we hold here as Filipinos and the ways of working is very much aligned with the strategy of the business, and that's why it's very exciting. The risk side is of course like what you mentioned earlier, it's on how are we going to integrate that with the global, but you know how Filipinos are when it comes to ways of working, very resilient and adaptive, and so that didn't take that long either. So very exciting.
That's so wonderful, Syra. Thank you so much for sharing that as well. Elijah, thank you for your
Thank you,
question.
Elijah.
Do we have a next question from the floor? Yes, sir, go ahead.
Bob Reyes, Available in Tech. When most tech companies are moving away from the physical office, why decide to have a physical office in Manila?
I think it's a really good question, and most organisations across the globe are really grappling with the work styles. However, when you come to cybersecurity, I think one of the things that we've certainly learned of looking at this is when you put the client at the heart of the problems, you need to drive collaboration, because nobody has a perfect playbook to cyber. If we did, cyber wouldn't be the headline day in, day out. And that's where it's important that we give that opportunity for collaboration. Yes, there's fantastic collaboration technology tools, but you can't beat people collaborating, sharing their experiences and learning together. But this is where probably we're quite unique, where we see the opportunity coming out of the pandemic to recreate what the modern work community looks, feels like. And you've had first-hand experience, because it's no longer just sat at your desk, collaborating at your desk. You collaborate on a basketball court, because there are challenges that we see, which particularly if you're sat at a screen, if you're coding, you can get really frustrated actually stepping away, shooting some hoops, asking the question of your colleague, going back, and you're going to see it. So for us, it's having a hybrid work style that's supported by a work community platform that really enables that to come to life.
I just maybe slight add to that and build this. A really deeply held belief and ethos of NCC is we build talent for the future. And the best way to build talent is in a truly learning environment. And I think in a services, people-oriented business, it is about actually having that people connection. And so we're really passionate about actually bringing people together in a hybrid way. We have to still acknowledge that, but I think having that centre of gravity and a place people want to come to. And again, significant investment in terms of the working environment, because people need to want to come to work. If it's a cold environment, it's a very sterile, none of us want to be there. But if it's collaborative, it's good, there's an experience to it, we believe that draws people in. That creates creativity, that enhances learning, and that creates a talent for the future that we want to do.
And the sort of final point I'll add as well, and this is from sort of my experience as well, is this is not, and you would have heard me speak, this is not us going just to hire experienced people. This is around building the talent for the future, and therefore we've been really fortunate that sort of 30% of our colleagues that we have, we're their first employer. We've got people who have come from school. So therefore, having a structure that means you're coming into the workplace is so important. It's that first stepping stone. And I've seen it across the globe where it's a challenge where you've got someone who's had a structure, i.e. go to school, go to college, you have to all of a sudden just be at home. You get demotivated, you don't get the ability to learn, and that's where, coming back to it, building the right platform for that to happen.
We're really passionate about this part. This is actually really at the centre of what we believe in. So it's you can probably we'll get very animated about this.
And if I may add, like it's fascinating how a one tap in the back or having coffee can actually do to help each other, right? And I'll give you an example. Wave 1 started, and then they graduated. Wave 2 came in, and because they're all in here together, you'll say Wave 1 like hovering around someone else's, back and looking at each other and helping each other. Something that you can't easily do when you're virtual, right? So fascinating to see.
Cool, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Since
Bob.
we're in the topic of nurturing talent, what specific training will you offer for them to stand out from others?
Without going into the details of the training materials, but we have, as I have mentioned earlier, it's very comprehensively designed and tailored to the skill set that we are hiring as well. And it's very important that when you're designing the training, it's not just industry standard. It's not just this is the norm, this is the curriculum that is being offered now, but also looking at the talent pool, looking at the services that you cater to your client, and making sure that you tie them all together. And only then you can actually produce that quality people who's been trained with, well for training program, right? So at NCC Manila, we have 2 sets of training, junior and experienced program, because we have opened our doors to a diverse group of skills in Manila. We're not closing our doors for certain areas. We're open to it, and we make sure that we have the training to support them and grow them internally and in their future.
And I think the other thing as well, when we refer to training, the mind naturally jumps to a textbook or some form of certification, but actually training is having access to global talent
Yes.
that we have. And that's what we're really excited is, whilst we set the office here, actually this is just the entry point to access so much global talent. And I mentioned it just as one example of one of the secondees that we brought over here. Is a fantastic technician, won a global competition recently. So it's that on-the-job training. And I think therefore it comes back to that people, process, technology, being able to have those experiences as we go forward.
Thank you so much, Melen and Bob. As you can see, our executives and NCC group is very, very passionate and committed to really honing and developing the talent of the future, right? Especially with their experience. I did have, yes, Melvin? Oh, sorry, Dale, go ahead.
Dale from Recorder. I'd like to ask, like, how exactly do you plan to bring cybersecurity here in the Philippines? Because it's a really difficult topic where it covers so many industries that it can be difficult for regular Filipino to understand how it works and how it could benefit them. So maybe you could shed some light on that.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
I think all of our executives actually have thoughts on that as well,
Yeah,
so please go ahead.
So,
Go ahead.
just so I can clarify that. So it's how it affects them from a career point of view. Is that,
Yeah,
or am I-
regular Filipino that able to benefit them is can be difficult to explain sometimes.
So the consumer industry.
Yeah.
So I think there's, for me, one of the things about cybersecurity as a topic is actually it can be exactly as you say, a little bit mystifying. What I think our role is to be able to build the capabilities to be able to tackle the problem. I don't think we can change society overall, and I think that's a governmental component to that. But cybersecurity is so ubiquitous. It's the amount of technology on this table is staggering. So it is about it's ingrained in everything we do. We've got to build a talent that is able to support the changing environment in which we're all now operating, and that's where we're really focused. So it is about we bring people through from a school level, from a graduate, and then they progress to become the people who lead cyber capability in a bank in the future, and that's really what we're focused on.
Yes, Aaron.
Yeah, and I just wanted to clarify the question as well. I think are you asking about how it is going to get accepted here in the Philippines, or the reception of cybersecurity in Manila? Look, for instance, one of the initiatives that we have is that partnership, whether it's the university, whether it's industry, experts, right? You start from there, and then we have now a platform to bring in awareness, right? I think the awareness piece of cybersecurity in the Philippines is very minimal. I think one of the things that we need to really invest in as well, right? And that's where NCC Group is very much, open to give back to the community by sharing our expertise, our capability, and our people, and get out there and articulate cybersecurity in probably the layman's term, the simplest thing, and what does it mean for specific audience as well. And I think NCC Group is, I'm sure NCC Group is a very good partner for private and government organization for us to add value to the community.
Thank you so much, Sharon. I think that's also where the partnerships with the
Yes,
IPPAP, and we also heard from the Department of Justice earlier about how we can actually work together and the relatability of cybersecurity in the market, right? So as people-powered organization, this is something that NCC is also driving.
And demystifying of cybersecurity.
Yes. Kevin, did you want to say something as well?
No, I think covered it. I think the important thing is exactly that, demystifying what does cybersecurity mean to individuals, because it's a big topic, it's quite a scary topic at times, and it's building that awareness, whether it's to your consumer, whether it's to your SME, your large enterprise, and also putting the context of what it means to you in a certain country, in a certain competition. Because we can all look and say it's a scary world, but actually it's more about, well, what does it mean to me, what are the threats, and that's where we have a global threat intelligence capability that really helps organisations better understand the threats that they face. Because look, no one's got a sort of an open checkbook that says I'm just going to pay for whatever. It's more about actually, what are the threats, what is it that I need to do, how can I have a journey to improve things, and certainly with NCC Group's reputation, we work with clients throughout as a journey. We build those trusted partnerships.
Thank you so much, Kevin. Dale, thank you so much for your question. Melvin, please go ahead.
Anyone can answer. I'd like to know how many employees are you planning to hire for this facility, and why did you choose this location? It's quite expensive here.
So plans continue to evolve. I think that's so we haven't set a specific number. I think what.
But right now, how many do you have now?
70 at the moment. 70.
70.
Yeah. So and that's the first tranche, if you like, of our development. But we haven't set a. That is not we don't have a goal. Continue to evolve. It's a core component of our growth plan. Why did we choose here? I think it is really important about that working environment. It is a great place to work. It's a great place to walk out for lunch. So that experience for our people is absolutely fundamental. People have to want to come to work. So we were very keen to make sure it reflected that because it aligns exactly with our values and how we want to operate.
I think for NEO itself, when you look at the sustainability
Very
angle as well,
important,
it's building us really at the cutting edge of sustainability. Again, really aligned with our brand. And of course, basketball court.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Kevin. Tyra, did you want to add anything? You're good? Okay. Thank you so much,
Thank you.
Melvin. Yes, ma'am.
Sorry, I'm Larissa Garcia from Manila Society. Follow up with that question. How's the turnout of the applicants? Or are you are there many interested applicants, or are you having a hard time qualifying?
One of the things when we started is, of course, one of the questions that we will ask as a business is how fast or how slow are we going to hire in Manila? This is our first office here in Manila, right? And our first engagement as a global company with Philippines. But I am glad to say that we have hired 60 employees. We were thinking about doing it in a 6 months time frame, but we were lucky enough to find great talents within 2 months. And one of the things is that, it's the word spread very fast, and you get referral from our own employees.
Okay.
Right? We work with partners as well in the industry who knows the Manila footprint. So all that comes together to get to where we are now with 70 employees. Are we gonna have a hard time in the future? I'm sure that we are equipped enough to do what we are gonna do this year. And of course, there's gonna be challenges along the way, but hey, we have great partnership now. We're working with the community. We're working with you all here, and that is a great thing. So
I think so. I would just ask to say something in terms of the macro environment. 20 years ago, cyber was sort of not a career, not a career. It was, you did IT, but it all at the time. That has totally changed. It is, and I would say this, it's an incredibly exciting domain to operate. It's incredibly diverse. It is constantly changing. It's highly dynamic. It's very creative. Back to the environment. That is an attractive environment, attractive career path for people now. We talk about the skills gap, the scale of skills gap on a global basis around cybersecurity capability, and I think that attracts people, and I think people are very interested, and particularly the younger generation who see how they want to build a career. That's a domain they want to go into. And we've got a great track record, we've got a great reputation. If we build it more in the Philippines, it's just incredibly exciting for me as a sort of growing this business, be able to tap into that in the Philippines.
And I'll just add to that as well, whilst we talk a lot about hiring, for me, it's about colleague experience. Because you can hire very easy, but if they don't have a good experience, they can leave very quickly. So therefore, it is about recognising, coming back to sort of the hybrid working, that having that environment where your work-life blend is okay. So if you want to avoid traffic and come here a few hours early and play basketball, sit, do some research, do some quiet time, that's okay. Or play board games. We've got an area for board games. So it's around that colleague experience which is so critical to us, and people knowing that they're going to come to work to have fun. We spend far too long at work to be unhappy, so how do you create that environment of fun? And for us, the positive is that flows through to our clients. It's always a happy colleagues, happy clients. And the feedback that we've got already from some of our clients is amazing. It truly is true, superb, really is.
And I think it's really interesting when we see, we talk about hiring, and then people have to stay with us for life. That's not the case. When we talk about a colleague's career, that might be with us, it might not be with us. They may come to us, learn some skills, go out into industry. That's brilliant because they may become our clients in the future. And so we have that alumni component to it. And actually we see this in some of our more established markets. Some of our most senior clients are former alumni of NCC Group. And we would love to see that kind of, back to the impact upon the wider society, is actually seeing our colleagues going out and becoming the leaders of the future around the cybersecurity agenda. I think that's again about developing that talent pipeline is phenomenal.
We're excited about that too, right?
Sorry, I just again, that's the bit I like. Yes.
Okay. So generally, I could assume that what attract them most apply besides the basketball is a good compensation package and a good.
We treat our colleagues well.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Larissa. Any other question from the floor, please? Okay, so we'll have Miguel first and then Axel. Please go ahead.
Miguel from Business Road. Can you tell me about the sectors or industries in the country that you're planning to, that you see like the most opportunity in cybersecurity, given that cybersecurity itself is a heavy topic in the Philippines with all the news coming out? What sectors or industries are you planning to benefit with your arrival in the Philippines?
Thanks, Miguel. So this is very early days. I wouldn't say I'm an expert on the Philippine market. Talking more broadly, where do we see the most challenges from a cybersecurity perspective in terms of particular industries and verticals? The natural ones we look at is obviously those which are either heavily regulated or have incredibly sensitive information. So naturally, the public sector is obviously one where we see a lot of attention on this as a topic. The other areas are, again, where there is either a significant amount of intellectual property or there is a potential financial downside in terms of the compromise. So that would naturally lead yourself to looking in the regulators. The IP space would be things like pharmaceuticals, for example, or technology industries. We also see, obviously, the financial services sector is one where naturally they're a particular target for attackers. So those are the most obvious ones. If we look more broadly in the future, we're seeing a convergence between information technology and operational technology. So in manufacturing, in smart factories, in production, that's where we see that, again, the disruption from attack is quite significant. So those would be the ones we most naturally see.
Thank you very much, Miguel. Thank you, Mike.